Hey friends, this is Charles at Wells Farm. Today we're talking about late season seed starting. So we like to take our seeds and start them in little containers like this. You can see there's quite a few things in there. This is a short, early maturity variety of cabbage, Golden Acre. And so you can see these guys look pretty good. They're short and stocky. And as you can see, some things don't look so good. They're long and lanky. So the technique that we have here is a way to help mitigate those issues, such as one day too late to get them to the strong light. So what we like to do is take these little containers and we'll sprinkle seeds in there, and we'll put a little bit on top, water them in, and we'll put these inside of like the little lettuce containers you get from the store. The larger ones, so that you can put 4 or 5 of these inside of there, put the lid on, and it acts like a humidity dome or a way to keep the humidity up. And then you just need to keep that guy at a decent temperature to germinate your seeds. So cool season, a cool place, cool dark place because it doesn't need light. But as soon as you see those sprouting, you need to get them to a good strong light. And so this is an example, some cauliflower here, of what happens when you are maybe only a day too late with these guys, where they start reaching for the light after they start to open up their cotyledon, which is these first 2 leaves. They haven't made a true leaf yet. So what we do is we sprout them in containers like this, and then we'll take a module tray. I think this one is a 50 cell. I'm not sure where it's from. I'm not really just sold on this particular brand. It's just what I have on hand. We do have some that are larger that I really like, but this is what we're going to do because we don't need these guys in a tray for very long. We're just trying to beat the 100s. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this little container like this. We're going to soften it up by hand. I don't like it super soggy wet when I do this, but I'm just going to lift one right out of there. Sometimes you'll get 2. And then you see his little beady roots there. He's happy. That's a decent little root structure for the decent little plant. You can see here he's starting to make his first set of leaves. There's no best time to do this, but I like to do it in this small stage so that it's easy for him to get established. They don't have a lot of roots. We get them established roots in the little cell. So I just take a little pen or a pencil, whatever, and I make a little hole. This tray is already filled. This is a mixture of who knows what. We're not real particular with that either. This is some homemade compost, a little bit of perlite. I think there's some biochar in here. There's some peat moss in here. Just something that's light, fluffy, crumbly, that'll hold moisture, but not get soggy. That's the main goal. We don't need a ton of nutrients here, but what we're going to do is we'll water these guys in with some nutrient tea after they get a little bit more established. So again, we just take our little seedling here. This is another guy, and I really like this method because you can pick and choose. You can pick and choose your strongest ones and get a uniform crop, especially if you're doing like a market garden or you're trying to time your crops where you know everybody's like trying to save this little guy, you know, but I'm okay with laying him down and saying, well, you know what, this one germinated faster. He was stronger, he was more vigorous. I want to use him and make a little hole in my tray and get him down in there and get that going. And so these are cabbages. Those guys were good and strong. So the good thing about this system is these little lanky guys over here that are, and I'm just burying them right up to their leaves, just right up to the stem there. You can see there's not much sticking out. And so that was our cabbages. So we're gonna take one of these broccolis and then, you know, just put your little stakes in here of, you know, how many ever you wanted of what variety is growing. But I really like the cups instead of sprouting them in these trays, because if I don't want to do 50 broccoli, I might have to do several types of seeds. And if I put several types of seeds, they may have a similar temperature and moisture requirement for germination, but they may have a different time frame. So I might have one half my tray sprout, ready for the humidity dome to be removed or get to the light, but these guys haven't sprouted yet. They're not ready. So you end up getting some weird failures that way. So I like doing individuals here where I can take this out of the lettuce container and put him in the light and leave anybody that's not ready in. Kind of like a seed incubator where I can remove different varieties. So I like this method a lot more than trying to sprout them in the trays individually. It's a little bit more work, but again, I get to be selective on what ones I want to put in the ground versus having a whole tray where 7 or 8 didn't sprout. When I do this, I know that I have a full tray and I have a count on the plants that we want to grow. So anyway, one advantage to this method too is if you had a delay on time and you had this big lanky looking cauliflower here, I can take this and run that pin all the way to the bottom. It helps when your soil mixture is a little bit damp. If it's too dry, this doesn't work very good. But I can stick him all the way in there and bury his stem all the way to the bottom. And he now does not have near that issue with the long stem because he was short on light. So we're going to get him worked way down in there. And most plants do totally okay with their stem buried in there. And you don't really have to worry about damping off or anything like that. It's all about moisture at that point and being careful not to over wet your plants at this stage when they're little, because they don't need to be soggy. They're not doing a whole lot. You just need to make sure that they don't dry out and they don't get exposed to really harsh elements early on. But just like that, we've got 3 cauliflower and 3 cabbage planted in. This is one of my favorite ways to propagate plants. I do this in the spring and I do this in the fall, and it allows me to make little microclimates for germinating seeds where it's a little cooler or a little warmer than the temperatures outside, and then I can get them into their light requirements. We typically just try to find a south-facing windowsill. Last year we did a big cold frame. It did really good for our early spring starts, and hopefully by fall or by late fall, early winter, we'll be able to shoot some videos like this in the new greenhouse edition that we're building right now. So, cool stuff's happening here at Wells Farm. If you like the video, if you like this method, if you have any questions on how to start seeds or about how to propagate them and get them going in different stages we do, please comment and leave a comment and ask a question, and we'll try to do a little bit more of a specialized video. But this is one of our favorite ways to start seedlings, get them started. These guys will be in this tray for maybe 2 or 3 weeks until our daytime temperatures start to cool off, our soil temperatures cool off, and these fall crops are going to be ready to go. This is Charles at Wells Farms. Enjoy the journey.